Are y'all ready for some metal? Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's album art of the week. It's the weekend. That means we got new metal albums to talk about, and I'm bringing you my top 5 favorite. But before we do the top 5, we always talk about the big major label releases, so let's jump on that real quick. If you saw this week's podcast, then you already know we got a new album from Bad Omens called Concrete Jungle, and I get a real cyberpunk industrial EDM remix of their previous hit sort of vibe from this one, plus some new ones with some guest spots. Check it out. And if maybe Bad Omens is too pretty for you, then check out the new record from Thou, Umbilical, Sludge Metal out of Baton Rouge. Coming in at number 5, the self-titled debut of Hell Butcher. If that name sounds familiar to you, that's because it used to be in Niflheim. I got my hands on this one early. Y'all know what that means. My written reviews already published in Metal Digest, links in the description. And what I wrote about this one is after the last Niflheim gig, we decided to start this project in order to, quote, uphold the true spirit of heavy metal. And that's exactly what this sounds like. Classic heavy metal mixed with first wave black metal, and I especially appreciate the production on this one. It's the clarity on these lead guitars makes the guitar harmonies from that classic metal style really leap out, and then plus his evil first wave black metal voice just cuts through the mix. Excellent stuff, check it out. Coming in at number 4, High Desert Queen with Palm Reader. This is desert rock meets southern metal out of Texas, and I also got my hands on this one early. And what I wrote about this is when you've got a familiar southern metal sound like this, the way to stand out is to be excellent, and they are indeed excellent. This is very heavy and very groovy. One of the things that I wrote is that it sounds like a bunch of Texas poets contemplating existence by the campfire while a biker party rages on right beside them. Coming in at number 3, the Omega Swarm with Crimson Demise, blackened death metal out of Germany. What I like about this one is it's got this epic atmospheric sound, but then at the same time, it's also got those riffs that give you stank face and make you kind of bob slow like this. Always gonna get me with that one, check it out. Coming in at number 2, Fig Art Tier. That sound funny to you? That's because I probably pronounced it incorrectly. Text is on the screen just in case, and as always, every band's Bandcamp will be linked in the description so that these albums are easy to find. The name of this one is Citadel of Stars, and this is folk black metal out of Canada. I love that they're not in a hurry with this one. Real mid-tempo, and the symphonic parts are well orchestrated, subtle chants, not like super in your face and pretentious. And then I love the classical guitar, and then I love the trad metal leads all over the place. If you love classic heavy metal lead guitar, you'll love this. And it goes in so many different places while still sounding cohesive. Just absolutely wonderful. Check it out. And hey, before we do number 1, I just got a couple things I want to say to you. If you love metal the way that I love metal, then you're in the right place. You should join the Heavy Metal Philosophy community, because that's all we do here. Every weekend, breaking down the best new metal albums, and every Tuesday is the podcast free on all platforms about the philosophy of metal. So if that interests you, check it out. And if you're super into it, Heavy Metal Philosophy merch store, that's cool. Liking helps spread the message about the bands. Now let's do number 1. Coming in at number 1, Humanity Defiled with Deficient Breed is death metal out of Belgium. Old school death metal. I love that there's some sort of bolt thrower riffs on this, but it's not quite as groovy as bolt thrower. And normally that makes me, if it's less groovy, I like my death metal groovy. I don't want it to be less groovy, but in this case, I like it because it's less groovy and more menacing. So you get more of a like, instead of that, you know, the fun headbanging, you get the, ooh, this is kind of wrong kind of headbanging. Really made me both stank face want to headbang and uncomfortable at the same time. Thrilling stuff. That's why it's number one. And we're not done yet, because we still got Dealer's Choice and the album art of the week. For Dealer's Choice this week, I'm going with Carnwin and Lotus. Normally, I don't like my metal to be super slow, but this sludgy doom out of New York, it made me feel disoriented. It's like you're falling through the void. But since you're in a void and you can't see what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right, the only reason why you know you're falling is because you can feel turbulence coming from the dissonance. That real unsettling feeling I got from this the whole time I was listening to it. I was like, am I dying? I might be dead. But then in real life, I can see I'm in my cabin in the woods. But when I close my eyes, I'm like, this is the sound of death. Very cool. Check it out. My pick for this week's best album art comes not only because I dig the art, but I also love this band's name, Cobra the Impaler, with Karma Collision. This is progressive metalcore out of Belgium, and there's just so much going on here. And I love the bright colors. I love how it looks kind of hand-drawn. Even the logo looks a little bit hand-drawn. But then, what is this person with their face obscured doing? Is it pulling a vein out of his arm? Is that a goose? What? Makes me curious. I love album art that makes me curious. And we spoke earlier about the Bad Omens podcast. If you want to check that out, click right here. I broke down several feelings about Bad Omens coming from a death metal fan. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.